I thank the gentleman. I thank you, Ms. Warren, for being here today. Just a couple quick footnotes. We had earlier heard about how anyone who lended money that was considered morally reprehensible in many ways had been carved out of the Dodd-Frank bill. And in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, I would like to think that if that was the case, there was no nefarious motives on the part of the Democratic majority and the Democratic president that allowed it to happen. Secondly, we had heard from another one of our colleagues about how spoiled beef was once opposed by people who wanted to eat it. That is a fair point. No one wanted to eat it. But what happens so often is that where there is a legitimate concern for governmental action to prevent a social harm, we wind up going from the inspection to prevent spoiled beef at the federal level to the elimination of Happy Meals at the municipal levels decades later. In your eyes, with the fact that we as Congress under this statute do not annually appropriate to your entity, what do you believe is our, well, it's a two-point question, what are the appropriate limits in your mind for the agency that it will never do, and what is the appropriate role of congressional oversight, and how would we make our voices heard absent the control of the purse strings?
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate your concern about oversight and appropriations. As you know, none of the banking regulators are part of the appropriations process, and they never have been, as a matter of history. Congress has repeatedly made the very wise decision that pulling a banking regulator, somebody who's going to have to stand up to the richest and most powerful and say, sometimes, no, is not a good idea. And Congress has never done that. As it stands right now, the other banking regulators stay outside the process. The consumer agency is the only one of the banking regulators who actually does not have full control over its own budget. Its budget is effectively set by the Fed, unlike the Federal Reserve's ability to set its own budget, the FDIC's ability to set its own budget, the OCC's ability to set its own budget, and the OTS's ability to set its own budget. So the consumer agency is more constrained on the financial side, and it is subject to being overruled by FSOC, unlike any agency anywhere else in government. I am convinced that this consumer agency will be a voice on behalf of American consumers. But Congress, quite reasonably, in setting this agency up, made it the most constrained of the federal agencies.
I appreciate that, but not necessarily by us,
Well,
who happen to be, under the Constitution, that entity within the federal government that is most directly and accountable to the people, the House of Representatives, and in conjunction with the United States Senate, who I would think may be the richest and most powerful people, but we can differ on that. Thank you.